Hello friends and welcome to a new video. My name is Celine and today I'm back with a list of knitty inspiration for the fall season. I'm usually super annoyed about leaving summer behind, but I don't know what it is this year. I'm kind of looking forward to being cozy, to wearing more brown, to walking on crunchy leaves and eating more soup. Potentially part of the reason may also be that I've given this living room / yarn room a little bit of a makeover. I've moved things around, made some major changes, added some nice lighting, and it's just so cozy and I really get to enjoy it when it gets dark. So stay tuned for my next video because that's when I'll be sharing all about the makeover of this room. But in the meantime, let's get excited about the season ahead and all the knitting opportunities we've got. As always, I love my videos to be a little forum where everyone can share their ideas and whatever they're up to. So of course, let me know what's currently on your needles. What are your autumn knitting plans? What's a pattern for the season that you have made in the past that you would really recommend? Also, what are your favorite autumn time yarns? And most importantly, let me know what your autumn fall color palette is. What colors and shades are you wearing in these next couple months? Let's go ahead and see what patterns are on the list. What better way to celebrate the arrival of autumn with some crisp apple slices on your socks? As always, Stone Knits has us covered for the colder months. This time I have my eye on her apple slice socks, which are the cutest thing in the world. Look at those seeds. Look at those cute little apple sections. She only puts the apples on the cuffs, but I love them so much. I would try and integrate them all over. I also think autumn is the perfect season to be wearing hand knitted socks because it's not cold enough where you have to cover your ankles with your trousers. You can still expose them. So this is the perfect time for your hand knit socks to shine. Also a great way to use up some nice hand dyed skeins that you might have picked up during a little trip somewhere or at a new yarn shop. Anything red, orange, brown, green will do amazing with this pattern. I would love to wear these socks with some cute little brown loafers, a nice woolen skirt, maybe a little blazer, make it like a smart casual situation, a little bit of an academia style thing. The apples would be such a cute little quirky detail to spruce up the outfit and make people smile. Also, there's nothing that screams autumn as loud as apples. Imagine how much better my walk would be right now if I were wearing apple slice socks. Either way, I would really recommend you check out Stone Knits because she is the queen of colorwork socks. This sun is blinding me. And yeah, I just love her. I believe the world of knitting needs two things: more men's patterns and more designs for bottoms like trousers, skirts, and shorts. It took me until my 5th year of knitting to finally dip my toe into patterns for anything other than tops, sweaters, cardigans, and accessories. But it truly unlocked an incredible world for me and brought back a type of excitement that I only used to get during my 1st year of knitting, which was so special. I follow this really talented knitter on Instagram. She's called Koutvaka and she's coming out with a long knitted lounge pant in October. To me, this is almost the long pant trouser equivalent to skirt number 1 by my favorite things. It's just the most perfect simple silhouette that's super flattering. It's got a nice comfy waistband. There's some nice positive ease on it, so it's perfect for lounging, and that's my favorite type of trouser. I don't know what it is, but my body's like incompatible with tight fitted garments on my legs. They just drive me absolutely insane. I have seen quite a lot of hand knitted trousers before, but none of them have really appeared as flattering on the body as Koutvaka's pair. While it is a very simple design, I think she really nailed the fit. You can tell the construction is super well thought out. It's extremely well tailored. Yeah, I've never seen a hand knitted pant just blend into the body so nicely. It would be the coziest thing to make and wear these, especially for the side of fall that goes into winter. Overall, I'm really impressed with the fit. I very much admire Koutvaka for having cracked the code to making a perfect fitting trouser. It's really not that easy to find in the knitting world, but even in stores. Of course, I like to dream big and imagine these made in cashmere. I've done another pattern roundup in the past, and I also took a little break here because, you know, gotta sit down after a long walk. Up next, I wanted to talk about the jacket. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, to be honest, but it's by Isier. I actually adore so many of Isier's patterns. A knitted jacket for autumn is just what we need. This one sounds particularly fun because you knit it from sleeve to sleeve. If I were to make this, I would not change the colors because the ones used in the sample are so dreamy. Emblematic of autumn, that deep petroleum blue and the different shades of bricky brown, red. If you live in a cooler climate, it's a great way to show off your knitwear, even when it's a little bit too cold, when you can't just walk around with your sweater on. Here, no coat will be covering your knits because your coat is your knit. I have a soft spot for jackets, especially in the autumn. Every good jacket I see, I kind of want to have. I'd also be super curious to experiment with this construction. I've never knitted anything from cuff to cuff, but every now and again, it's really good to change things up and try something new, and who knows, you might find a new construction that suits you incredibly. This design looks pretty store-bought, which is always amazing when you can achieve that with hand knitting. It is so chic. Imagine it styled with a chunky belt at the waist to cinch it in, some knee-high boots, a chunky brown autumnal bag. If you also sew, you could look into creating a lining for it too. It's just so nice when a knit is so inspirational. You see, I'm just like going on tangents, daydreaming about what the whole vibe would be. Think about it with gloves. Is that more of a winter thing? I'm where I belong, in the yarn shop. This is Beautiful Knitters. I'm actually not alone. Look who I'm with. I got you a microphone. This is Karen.
Hello.
Karen owns Beautiful Knitters yarn shop, which is basically my second home. I love being here. It's the best time in the world. And I thought we would talk about the next pattern together. I was planning to film this segment while I was here. Before I even mentioned it, Karen said, "Have you seen the new pattern by Rose Knitwear?"
Yep, exactly.
You must be joking. That's literally what I wanted to talk about with you. So we are talking about the Axis bag by Rose Knitwear. I feel like all of my pattern roundup videos have a load of Rose Knitwear in it. I feel like inspiration should be her second name. She's so cool.
We don't have the actual pattern yet, so it's difficult to see how it's made, but I think it's going to be something very peculiar. I think it's just the slip stitches. What do you think?
She says it's knitted in the round from the bottom up, an alternate long slip stitch using 2 different yarns, which is something that she uses quite often, just 2 different yarns at the same time. Her specialty in general is just using very avant-garde stitches that are so mind-boggling and original. It's got this drape in it. I think it just screams fall bag.
I'm not a big fan of like handmade bags, but this is something like you bought it at Miu Miu or
Literally.
somewhere. It's gorgeous, and I'm definitely making it. Are you making it?
I'm making it. The slouchiness of it is so effortless and high fashion. I just imagine, you know, Carla Bruni wearing it in the streets of Paris.
It's basically like you are wearing a garment, but it's a bag, right?
Wow, so impressive. And look at the edging right here. Look how cool it is. Like the V formation of the 2 panels sort of meeting on the seam line, let's call it. Like, how did she even come up with that? It's crazy.
What is used for this bag? What kind of yarn?
For one color, she uses a sport weight yarn, so something that has a standard stockinette stitch tension of 24 to 26 stitches. And then the other color is something like the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, which is a worsted weight, which I think is good because you want your bag, especially if it's so big, to be able to hold stuff. So you want it to be nice and sturdy and not have it just completely stretch while you're wearing it on your shoulder. It looks very complex, but apparently skill level is easy, which is amazing. What would you pair this with?
I would pair it with exactly what she's wearing in the photo. Beautiful blouse, like oversized blouse, pair of jeans, like baggy jeans, and maybe some like ankle high boots.
That's really nice. I have this really oversized men's suede jacket that I thrifted. You know, the dark brown one? So I would totally make this in brown. I really like the low contrast, so I would pick 2 very similar browns to give just enough of a difference.
I actually prefer the high contrast. She is just an engineer. Yeah. She knows what she's doing and is never a disappointment, is it?
Look at that ribbing at the opening. Hello.
Thank you, Rose Knitwear.
For being amazing. Ow. Hello. Not me doing my skincare while I do the dishes. Want to try my mask on? There you go. Your skin probably already feels much hydrated. I know. I've actually talked about this mask plenty on my channel before just because it's been one of my favorite things this year, especially after the busy and sunny summer. I've been very consistent with it. This device is from Foreo Sweden, a skincare brand that aims to make self-care easy and enjoyable. Picture this. I wake up freezing, so I pop on my Suki sweater, which is made in 100% cashmere. My skin was dry, my nose was basically an ice cube. So I put on my FAQ 202, a new generation of LED masks made out of flexible silicone that perfectly molds to the shape of your face. This morning I actually cycled through all 8 different wavelengths, including NIR, to tackle signs of aging and other skin concerns like acne scars and dry skin. You can set it up directly from the mask or pick from a range of treatments on the Foreo app that last up to 15 minutes. And then, cherry on top of the cake, I used my UFO 3, which is a red light therapy device. Paired it with a Foreo mask to lock in the hydration. The thermotherapy even warmed my cold nose up. It was really nice. I was answering emails while I did this and it kind of made me sleepy. It was a majestic time. If any of you would like to try this calming at-home spa experience, you can check out the Foreo FAQ 202 and other Foreo products at the link in my description, and you can use my code ByCeline30 to get an additional 30% off on almost all Foreo products. This code is stackable with any ongoing promotion, and that's exactly how I'll want to head into the fall season, with a hydrated face and a sweater that will turn heads. And speaking of sweaters that turn heads, Linnet has done it again after the success of the porcelain sweater and the terracotta sweater, which I'm pretty sure made it into last year's fall knits video, and I also made it myself. She has just come out with the Rosie sweater, which is another beautiful colorwork rendition, knitted in a beautiful seamless construction with bands of colorwork extending across the body. I love flowers. I don't think we should reserve them for spring. Bring on the fall flowers, please. Let me admire these roses while I have my lunch, which I treated myself today and ordered. I have some grains and gochujang salmon, some vegan mac and cheese with mushrooms, and roasted cauliflower. Buon appetito, speak to you in a second. I also got a cookie. It's gooey. That was delicious. But now back onto the Rosie sweater. I really enjoy that Linnet has her staple and almost iconic sweater look with the color work crossing the body. Usually she does it over 3 stripes, but as you can see in the Rosie sweater, she only has 2. And there's a very interesting reason behind this. If we look at the terracotta and porcelain sweaters, the construction of those is pretty basic. You cast on at the top of the back, and then you create a slope for the shoulders, you pick up for the front shoulders, you join at the front to shape the neck, then work down to reach the armholes, and that's when you join everything in the round to knit the rest of the body in a tube. In the terracotta and porcelain sweaters, the top stripe of colorwork has to be worked flat, so both from the wrong and right side, which some people may not enjoy as much. And see, the particular thing about the Rosie sweater is that you actually knit all of the colorwork in the round because the construction is quite peculiar, comprised of a fun hybrid between a drop shoulder and a raglan. If you zoom in onto the drop shoulder of this, you'll notice that the raglan slope actually begins pretty early on. Essentially, you start working this sweater flat, but pretty soon into it, you already join everything in the round, which means you don't have to purl for too long and you don't have to put yourself through the hustle of working colorwork on the wrong side. It is worked up in a very common DK weight gauge, which is perfect thickness for autumn. I, of course, have the best time scrolling through everyone's project photos on Ravelry for this. And there's one person who actually used 3 colors for this whole sweater. She made the roses in like a terracotta shade, and then the stems and leaves of the flowers, she made it in green. And it's so stunning. I've never tried colorwork with 3 colors, but I reckon I would feel quite comfortable testing it out with this design. design just because it is all knitted in the round, and it would be a good occasion to figure out how to hold 3 colors at the same time. If you're not so keen on doing the flowers and the leaves in 2 different colors, you of course can go for the single color, which is what the original opts for. Think of a cream for the main color and a beautiful cherry red for the flowers, or the floral motif in a deep petroleum blue. This would be an incredible addition to everyone's fall wardrobe. You guys know I love a jaw-dropping pattern, and when I saw the Button Me Up Cardi by Simstrick on my feed on Instagram, I couldn't believe my eyes. From afar, this looks like a normal cardigan, but do you see those buttons? Yeah, I know. This cardigan is not just a simple long sleeve cardigan. It can transform into a shorter sleeve cardigan and also into a button-up sweater vest. This is knitting innovation. This is thinking outside the box. This is bending all our knitting certainties in the best way possible. There are so many aspects about this cardigan that got me obsessed with it. The first one, of course, is the versatility. Fall is obviously a transitional period during the year, going from summer to winter, and temperature-wise, it can be a little bit confusing. So what better than a multifunctional piece that you can adapt depending on the exact temperature? You could leave your house pretty early in the morning when it's still quite chilly, but then when the midday sun rolls around, you can just remove the first section of the sleeve to start circulating some air into the arms. That middle length sleeve is so flattering, in my opinion. There's not many patterns that hit the length of the arm at that point. And listen, maybe in the afternoon you start running some errands, and that's when you start getting pretty warm. Fear not, you can still look cute and keep your outfit. Just remove the rest of the sleeve to unveil a little buttoned up slip over. Also, imagine how cool, you don't have to finish this piece to start wearing it, because you can already wear it when it's only just a sweater vest, and then while you wear it you can still be knitting the sleeves for it, you know what I mean? The other thing that's got me obsessed with this pattern are all of the buttons. I don't usually gravitate towards designs that have got a million buttons on it, but I think this one is done so tastefully. The designer knitted her sample in a single color and then used buttons as little colorful accents, and this is something that I love so much. I love subdued pops of color. I also have a soft spot for crazy buttons, so I do have quite a few myself, but the Button Me Up Cardi would be the perfect avenue for me to use up these buttons that I have. I would make it probably in a cream in order for the buttons to really be the star of the show. If I were to knit this, I would also consider using different sized buttons. I don't know how simple that would be to create different sized buttonholes, but with a little bit of planning, it might be possible. A different funky approach would be that to knit the different pieces in different colors, almost to create like a patchwork cardigan. Making this cardigan in different colors would lend itself beautifully to stash busting. I feel like I've got my radar switched on for stash busting. I've got like this huge antenna, always thinking about ways that I can use up the yarn in my stash because I've got too much. Literally, if you've got a super awkward amount of yarn left in your stash and you have no idea what to make with it without having to buy more of the same yarn, you can just knit one of the sections, or if you have a very, very tiny bit, you can just knit the ribbing part because the other sections are going to be in other colors anyway. That just gives you so much room for creativity. Just makes me so happy. Don't mind me trying on the sweater that I'm knitting for my brother to see if the collar is too tight, and the verdict is yes, it is. It's hard to put on, and I know that my brother's head is slightly bigger than mine, so I reckon he'll have some issues. But update, this is what she's looking like. I am working on the pattern, so as soon as I'm done knitting it up, I'll call for testers and then I'll release it hopefully before Christmas. I just want to make a little contribution to the world of men's knitwear and men's patterns because I always struggle to find them. But anyways, I wanted to have a little break and see if I could find some fall inspiration in the knitting pattern books that I have here at home. My favorite one currently is Koutvaka's Knits to Wear. I already made a garment using this book and my experience was so positive. Just the pattern, first of all, is extremely clear. I remember specifically thinking, wow, this is explained super well. So that was really pleasant. But then the design is also just amazing. I love it. I did do some major modifications, mainly concerning the gauge. So mine is way more tight fitting. But yeah, it's such a good fall knit, especially the way I worked it. I only used one strand of mohair, whereas Kika uses 2 strands alongside a merino. But you know, all those eyelets open up the fabric and let some air in, which is really good for autumn where the temperature is not quite freezing yet. There are so many good patterns in here, so let's select 1 or 2. There's this one that my mum is making and I'm so jealous because I want to make it too. It's Coffee Run. Now, I've not made a simple raglan sweater in a while because of course after a couple years of knitting you want to do things that are more experimental. But ever since I first flipped through this book, I remember seeing Coffee Run and thinking how impressed I was to see a simple design be so cute. You know, a stockinette single color raglan sweater is cute, but they don't usually stand out to me. But this was the complete opposite. I'm absolutely obsessed by the twisted rib and how it melts into the raglan bands that are slightly thicker than your average raglan. I love how the increases look just at the side of the raglan. They almost look like decreases, which makes me think at first glance that it's knitted bottom up, but no, it's knitted top down, which is my preferred method. You cannot see it in the photos, but I do know that that twisted rib band also trails down the sides of the body, which is a detail that I'm super fond of because when you move around and you slightly lift your arms, you unveil this really pretty motif. It's not necessarily a motif this time, but you know, it's something more than just simple stockinette. I've never knitted anything in grey, but Kika in this grey makes me want to exactly replicate it. It's so pretty. The gauge is also quite big. It's 18 stitches, which means you can make it really fast. Personally, I would pick Knitting for Olive's Heavy Merino. I've had such a good experience with that yarn and it's just so scrumptious to work on metal needles. It's literally like butter. This design lends itself beautifully to fluffiness, so if you want to add a strand of mohair to give it a nice halo, that would look stunning. As I said, I would probably consider just going for 1 strand of Heavy Merino by Knitting for Olive, and that has insanely incredible, gorgeous, scrumptious stitch definition, and I think the twisted rib and the increases would look fabulous in that. Autumn is also that wonderful time in the year where we can take out our slipovers and vests and start layering. I found the Peeny vest by Amy Sews. This is a funky little number. It's actually relatively simple, but of course what's funky is the squiggly button band. You may have noticed that more patterns are coming out where the button band is just a little bit funky. Either there's that famous diagonal placement. Of course, earlier I talked about the Button Me Up cardigan where the button bands are kind of placed everywhere on the body, and in this pattern it's just a squiggly line. This would be so quick as well because the gauge is 14 stitches. I checked out the construction and it's your average top down, create the back panel first, pick up on each shoulder. Of course, the only little difference here would be that you'd be making increases and decreases for that squiggly button band. I would consider sizing up because I do love something a little bit baggier, especially if I'll be layering, you know? Hopefully that wouldn't affect the way the squiggle sits. I think it should be okay. I do love that this button band is also functional. It's not just decorative. You can actually open it. I'm envisioning a nice plum color, and since we're at it with the funk, potentially some yellow buttons. I've got these mother of pearl buttons that are a pale yellow that I got in Barcelona, and they would be super cool for this design. But also imagine it with a shirt layered underneath, a cool collar popping out of it. Life is fun. Next. Okay, I know we're all here. Mr. Woozy has a hiccup. It's so funny. I think we should keep that in when you go like that. I know that everyone's watching to hear about sweaters and maybe socks and maybe some accessories. But there is this one pattern that I saw and it's way too cute not to include, and it's this colorwork Little Witch pattern by Amy Munson. I obviously haven't knitted a little witch like this myself, but the pattern states you only need less than 200 meters or 200 yards of yarn, which probably means you can make it up so quickly. Such a good little gift if maybe you're popping to a Halloween party at your friend's house or something. You can just bring a little witch that you can make with your yarn scraps. In Italy, we also have this festivity in February actually called the Epifania. Wait, no, it's not in February, it's in January. It's on the 6th of January. The main character of this festivity is Befana, which is a little witch. So for any Italians out there, this is also amazing for the Epifania. And if you're from any other country and there is a similar festivity where little witches are the main characters, let me know in the comments. Knowing me, I would probably make more than one and give them different little outfits, obviously name them all, and make up a little story about how they came to be and how they became friends. Is it just me, or are these houses super Halloween-y looking? No? Just me? Okay. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to move on to a speed round of an extra 10 patterns. Autumn is when you can finally start wearing scarves again. It is Gilmore Girls season after all, and you gotta go at it with the mini scarves, with the slim scarves, the thin scarves, or whatever they're called. So when in the summer I was flipping through the 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn book, I made a note of the Color As You Go scarf. This is a narrow intarsia scarf and a great opportunity to use up your lace weights and mohair and brush alpacas that you may have left over. I love a good geometric pattern, spices up a simple outfit so beautifully. This one has got some circles, rectangles, and squares. Obviously there is a lot of color going on, but the fact that it uses lace weights and puffy, airy, brushed yarns and threads means that all of it comes out quite soft, which I think is extra chic. Vivian Cardigan by Kiss Kiss Rhinestones. I kind of have a feeling I did put it in another pattern roundup sometime, and if I did, just forget about it, because I'd like to refresh your memory because it's so good. I believe that the knitting pattern world requires more zippers. Not a lot of patterns with zippers, and the few we have out there, I feel like most of them are for men. An overall rib piece is always impressive. We all know it's not the most fun to knit, or at least it wouldn't be for me. Although this one is worked in 2x2 rib on a 17 stitch gauge, so actually not that bad at all. If you're really attracted by ribbing but are scared to go into it because it's a little bit painful, this is probably the best one you can opt for because of that 2x2 and large gauge, you know? I love when the raglan band is thick. This one is really, really big and kind of creates this almost halter top silhouette a little bit. I love the double folded ribbed collar. It's so cozy. I follow the designer on Instagram, and I remember when she was designing this, she was putting so much effort into getting everything perfect, and you can tell each single detail is super well tailored, and I just really appreciate that. Look at the edging by the zipper. It's done so neatly, which is super good. I believe it's some sort of slip stitch work. Anyways, I love the shaping. It's amazing. You guys, when I visited H&H Yarn Trade Show back in March in Cologne, I walked past the Issier stand and they had their Gunta set on display. I can't remember if it was just hung or on a mannequin, but I remember my jaw dropped. So the set is comprised by the Gunta, the Gunta shirt and the skirt. The shirt is this short sleeve polo style little button up situation in this gorgeous teddy brown color, and then it's broken up with these really narrow colorful stripes. I do love a thin stripe. In this instance, I think that a thinner stripe makes this whole thing more elegant, but then it's quite sporty with the collar. There's honestly nothing like a knitted set. The second you pair some bottoms that reprise your top, you will turn heads. So I went to Unravel with my friend Claire, and she was wearing my Suki cardigan paired with a skirt made in the same yarn, and she got stopped non-stop. Everyone was so impressed because she looked incredible. It was so beautiful. It was amazing. It was amazing, and it was so inspiring to see. She looked incredible, and I want to recreate it and make a set myself. And this is an example of a pattern that you can use for that. Speaking of sets, Wool and Beyond has her thin set. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it. It's triple T thin. So she's got the skirt and also the little sweater. The skirt is so cute. It's worked on a 28 stitch gauge, so the fabric is quite light. It's got a tiny slit. It's quite mini. I would definitely go a little bit longer just because that's what I'm more comfortable with, but it's got a nice little stockinette band at the waist, and it's also double folded at the hem, which is a detail that I'm obsessed with. She pairs it with her thin sweater, which is made in the same fabric with the same yarn, 28 stitch gauge. She uses Knitting for Olive Merino, just one strand, and if you've ever worked with it alone by itself, you know that it is very light in weight, but of course it's merino, so it's nice and warm, so perfect for autumn. It's constructed with a saddle shoulder, it's got rolled hems, and it's got a very lovely detail, a little cross here that kind of reprises store-bought designs, which I really like. This would be a labor of love because it is 28 stitch gauge. I believe she uses a 3mm needle. The thing about such thin hand-knitted fabrics is that it feels priceless once it's done. The airiness of the finished piece is just majestic. Sisters, I was going through Ravelry's top patterns. Amongst the list, I found the Falling for Foxes socks. Excuse you. Aren't these the cutest things you've ever seen? I have a thing for foxes, especially living in London. It's just the land of foxes. There are so many foxes everywhere. The colorwork here looks a little bit more complicated, but I know that she does include duplicate stitch, so I don't think you'd be holding 3 colors at the same time. The design itself is so realistic because of all these shades. It's pretty. It's so pretty. Very appreciative of the fact that the colorwork expands from the cuff to the toe and is not just kept at the cuff. It's just so stunning. I think boucle is going to be quite popular this autumn. So I love the look of the Mellow Vest by Irene Lynn. She has so many beautiful patterns, by the way. I really suggest you check her out. But yeah, it's just this fun, super bulky vest that you can layer on top of your autumn outfit. She holds 2 strands of Camero's Snefnug together for the body, which makes it super chunky. So it's super bulky, 12 stitch gauge. It's basically a jacket, a sleeveless jacket. And then the detailing, which are a couple of boucle lines here and then on the front and the back and around the sleeves, and also actually entirely bordered in boucle, is the Gepard Teddy Dare. This would be such a good instant gratification project. I saw a post from Lou Dangit on my Instagram earlier, and she was talking about this plan she's got for a future project where she's doing a Franken sweater, mixing 2 different patterns, and one of those patterns that she's using is the C'est la Vie sweater by Hip Knit Shop. And Lou mentions how it's such a pretty fit. She's so right. The silhouette of this really reminds me of my own Winnie sweater, apart from the bell sleeves. I think it's also a saddle shoulder construction, at least that's what it looks like. It's so elegant and beautiful. I love how it's all over rib and the neck is exactly worked in the same pattern as the rest of the body, which is a feature in my Winnie sweater, only it's just stockinette instead of ribbing. I love that it's thicker ribbing, 4x1 or 4x2 ribbing or something like that, and it sits so nice on the body. I like how this one has slimmer sleeves. You work it on a DK weight gauge, so once again, the perfect thickness for the season. I feel like I already said that phrase in this video. It's the perfect thickness for the season. You didn't possibly think I would only talk about one rose knitwear pattern in this video, did you? Of course I must put a second one. She's got her outline sweater, which, listen, is seemingly super simple. But let me read you the details. The sweater is knitted flat in 2 pieces, the front and the back. Each piece starts with a 2x2 rib hem and changes to stocking stitch for the body. So it starts at the bottom of the body and you work your way up. But the thing is, you guys, if you look at the sleeves, the stockinette stitch is actually not vertical like a normal sleeve. It goes horizontal, which I assume that means you knit, the front and back panels looking like a T shape. Does that make sense? And then the seams are joined using an exposed crochet seam. It's just really exciting because you could also go quite crazy with that line at the seam. I would pick like a fluorescent pink or something, like a highlighter yellow or an acid green. Another pattern by Lynette that I really, really love. This one's a little bit different from her porcelain terracotta Rosie series. She has the Darcy cape, which I think is so chic. It's giving Devil Wears Prada. Also, I love that it's a cape. Have you ever knitted a cape? This stockinette cape has great potential of becoming your new wardrobe favorite for outdoor use as well as indoor use. I love it. That's what drives me crazy about autumn, is that it's just a little bit awkward with the coats. It's too warm for a lot of coats, but then it's too cold for not wearing any, so it's just very confusing. This would save me. We're on to the last pattern. I'm a big fan of ruffles. I really want to design something with ruffles myself. I already have a design in mind. But in the meantime, can we take a second for the Margaret cardigan by Colibri by Joanna? It's so cute. Oh my goodness. Come on now. It's so sweet. It's so darling. This one's a simple raglan, but the raglan here is not the star of the show. Of course, it's the ruffled edging. I really like how this one has a small I-cord bow, meaning that there's no button situation to drive the attention away from the ruffle. You don't want that. It fits so nicely. It's got the perfect amount of positive ease for this sort of thing. The aesthetic that I aim to have this season is cute girly autumn, you know? And with that, I'm going to wrap it up because my throat kind of hurts from talking. I hope there were some patterns in there that you enjoyed and that sparked some inspiration for your fall plans. As always, it's been super exciting to sit down and chat with you guys and talk about knitting. It's my favorite thing to do ever. I'm very much looking forward to reading your guys' comments about all the different things we talked about today. I thank you so much for sticking till the end of this video. I really appreciate the company. I will leave my Instagram on screen in case you'd like to follow my creations more in real time. I will say goodbye and I hope to see you in the next one.